So the questions surrounding Social Security never stop. And the reason why is because lawmakers don't just come out and say what they truly mean. We don't hear that from the president. We don't hear that from the White House. We don't hear that from anybody. So in order to figure out what is potentially going to happen, we have to read between the lines. We have to go and listen and read all these interviews and articles and watch all these videos and piece everything together. Well, here is what are the possible changes for Social Security coming in 2024. I want to break this down because I know a lot of people have been asking what is potentially going to happen. And the reason why I say potentially is because we just don't know. There's no one bill that is currently being looked at. There's multiple different pieces of legislation that eventually lawmakers are going to push together and then possibly vote on it. But the issue is when. The issue is how. We don't know these things just yet. So let's get right down to it. And keep in mind that Social Security has to change. It's not something that, will we see a change? Is it going to be beneficial to the American people? No. It is. Social Security must change because as of right now, Social Security will become insolvent within the next 10 years. So, all I ask before we get into this, if you can spend just 2 seconds, go ahead, hit that like button, and let's begin. So, what is going to change? Well, that's the big question mark. As of right now, I have a list of 3 things that, according to experts, they say these 3 things are likely coming in 2024 or possibly in 2025. Keep in mind, the reason why most articles are saying that these changes are going to happen in 2024 is because 2023 is supposed to be the year of Social Security, which means lawmakers would most likely say, okay, all changes start on January 1st, 2024. But again, we will see. And if you have any questions regarding Social Security, whether it is the cost of living adjustment, if it's the CPI, it's just different benefits, the possible $200 increase that President Biden proposed or promised, right? Let me know your questions down in the comment section below. But now that I said that, let's just talk about this $200 promise from President Biden. So back when President Biden was running for president or campaigning for president, that was one of his promises. He promised to pay off student loan debt, to forgive student loan debt. He promised to not raise taxes to anybody making less than $400,000 per year, which we will get to that in just a second. He also promised a $200 per month boost for Social Security recipients. Obviously, that didn't happen. So there's some promises here that he did give and hasn't actually done anything for him. So are we going to see that? And I brought this up before. The answer is no. President Biden cannot propose raising or increasing Social Security benefits by $200 per month. He can't do that because he's also promised to not raise taxes on anybody making less than $400,000 per year. So because of those 2 things, they're actually contradicting each other, which means we cannot see that done. But this is also why Senator Bernie Sanders and Senator Elizabeth Warren have proposed a very similar bill to increase Social Security benefits by $200 per month, but they didn't make the promise of nobody making less than $400,000 per year would see a penny more in taxes. So that's currently where we're at with that. But let's get to these changes for Social Security because I know a lot of people are wondering, are these things going to actually happen? According to multiple experts, these are the 3 things that are most likely to happen. Okay? So let's get right down to it. And again, these are the 3 things that are most likely to happen either in 2024 or possibly in 2025. The first one is full retirement age. Due to the longer lifespan, experts say that raising the full retirement age for people ages between 18 and 30 is actually a very smart move. Because if we can do that, and again, the new full retirement age is chances are it wouldn't be until age 70. But if you are 18 to 30 years old, or let's say 40 years old, I don't know what the cutoff is going to be. If that's your current age, you still have 30 years before you would retire. And so that's the big difference. Because again, Social Security uses the amount of money you made from the last 30 years, all this stuff, right? And so in order to factor that, we can't increase the full retirement age to age 70 for somebody that's 50 years old. Because again, they only have 20 years left, okay, before they reach that date, that cutoff. Okay? So financial experts say that knowing the full retirement age now is important so people can begin preparing for the additional 3 years of working. So again, the full retirement age is something that has been discussed multiple times. It is something that I believe many Democrats are open to, but they do not want to vote on something that has this because that would actually hurt them in their upcoming campaigns. So that's kind of where we're at with that. Another possible change, something that I brought up multiple times, this is something that has been brought up for years, is changing the way the cost of living adjustment is calculated. Currently, the cost of living adjustment is calculated based off of the third quarter CPI of the previous year. So third quarter of 2022, that is what caused the cost of living adjustment for 2023 to be 8.7%. The third quarter of 2023 is going to dictate what the cost of living adjustment for 2024 is. Nobody's really questioning the quarter in which the calculation is done. People are fine with that. Some people are a little bit upset with that because usually in the end of the summer or the third quarter, actually inflation goes down and then it comes back up towards the fourth quarter. So some are saying that they'd rather see the fourth quarter be calculated, but the only problem is if it's the fourth quarter, it might be too late to really see this change come into effect on January 1st. So that's part of the issue there. But experts say they've questioned the way the cost of living adjustment is determined by using the CPI/W instead of the CPI/E. They say this because, and again, recent reports have shown that by adjusting the calculations to go off of the consumer price index for the elderly, that CPI-E, that the cost of living adjustment would have been higher for much of the last 20 years. So that's interesting that they're now looking at this a little bit closer, because this would actually raise your benefit, not lower it. But again, if we see the full retirement age go to age 70, that could save the Social Security Trust a little bit of money there as well. So we'll see what happens with that. The third one, and this is a big one, is raising the Social Security tax cap. Currently, the Social Security tax cap is sitting at $160,200. President Biden says that this is where we have to keep it. Now, obviously, we can adjust for inflation, but this is where we have to keep it. We can't just go and raise it to $1 million because he made the promise of nobody making less than $400,000 per year would pay a penny more in taxes. So, this is where we have a little bit of a problem, because Democrats have revealed that they don't agree with President Biden pretty much holding the Social Security tax cap hostage, and they can't do anything with it because he promised the majority of Americans that if you make under $400,000 per year, you will not see a penny more in taxes. Well, that creates an issue because most Democrats say that they want to raise the Social Security tax cap to $250,000 or more. They can't raise it because President Biden has made a promise and he wants to stick by that promise. So, these are the three changes that most are expecting are going to happen. We are going to have to raise the Social Security tax cap, which means President Biden will have to walk back that promise. The second one is the new cost of living adjustment. Should we go to the cost of living adjustment for the consumer price index for the elderly to determine the cost of living adjustment for the following year? Experts say that yes, it is past time to do this. We should have done this years ago, but now's the time, if we're going to do a full-on Social Security reform, that we need to put this one in there. And then the full retirement age. Experts do believe that it makes sense to raise the full retirement age from age 67 to age 70. Now's the time to do it because of our longer lifespan. Honestly, we're not living that much longer. We're not living a full 3 years longer, but they say this is a good time to do it. So we will see. But those are the possible big changes that we're going to see for Social Security coming in 2024. Right now, it's going to come down to the debt ceiling, what we see there, how is it negotiated, what's in the fiscal year 2024 federal budget. Once we know those two things, then we should finally have some big answers for Social Security. But as always, go ahead, make sure you click that subscribe button so you never miss an update. I will keep you up to date on everything that's going on with Social Security, the economy, and so much more. Again, all you gotta do is click subscribe. But again, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys on the next one.